again. Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, so answer the following questions with in order to. Okay, here we go. Why do
Okay.
people eat? Why do people eat? People eat
People
in
eat
order to
in
live.
order to live.
Very good. For what purpose do people work? For what purpose do people work? People work
People work
in
in
order
order to earn
to
money.
money. Very good. What must we do in order to keep in good health? What must we do in order to keep in good health? In order
In
to
order
keep
to keep in
in
good
good health,
health,
we
we
must
must
sleep well,
sleep
eat
well,
healthy
eat
food,
healthy food,
take plenty
take
of,
plenty of exercise,
not
not
smoke,
smoke,
etc.
etc.
What do you think is the purpose of living? What do you think is the purpose of living? I think
I
the
think
purpose
the
of living
purpose of
is
living
to be
is to
happy
be
and
happy,
to make
to make
others
others
happy,
happy,
etc.
etc.
Give me an example of the words so that. Give me an example of the word so that, please. He put the food
He puts
in
the
the
food
fridge
in the fridge
so that
so
it
that
would
it
stay
will stay
fresh.
fresh.
Very good. Are there any notices hanging up in the school? Are there any notices hanging up in the school? Yes or no?
Yes, there
There
are
are
some
some
notices
hanging up in the
hanging up
school.
in the school.
Where? Where? They are on the walls.
They are on the walls.
What do they say? What do they say? They say,
They say,
always
always
speak
speak
English,
English,
always wear your uniform,
always wear uniform,
etc.
etc.
Very good. What are the three forms of lie? What are the three forms of the irregular verb lie? The three
The
forms
three
of
forms
lie
of
are
lie
lie,
they
lay,
are
lay.
lie, lay, lane.
Very good. What's the longest you've ever lain in bed for when you've been ill? What's the longest you've ever lain in bed for when you've been ill? The longest
The
I've ever
longest
lain
I would
in
lay,
bed
I
for
would ever lay in bed for
when I've been
when
ill
I've been ill
is about.
is a week. It's about a week.
Very good. What's the difference between to point at and to point out? What's the difference between to point at and to point out? The difference between
Difference
to point
between
at
two
and
point
to point
at and
out
two point
is
at
that we
is that
use to
we
point at
use two point
for
at
the action,
of, of the action
for the action,
pointing
for the
or the
action
action
of
for the
pointing the
action
finger
of
at
pointing the
an
finger
object.
at an object.
Whereas to point out
Whereas
means
two point at
to
means
indicate
to
something
indicate
among
something
different
of
things.
different things.
Very good. Okay, what am I doing? Oh, here we go. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're pointing at
We are
the light.
pointing at the light.
Very good. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're pointing
We are
at the
pointing
picture
at
on
the
the wall.
picture on that wall.
Very good. Point out the mistake in this sentence, please. I've gone to the cinema this week. Point out the mistake in this sentence, please. I've gone to the cinema this week. We can't
We
say
can't say
I've gone to
we
the
we
cinema
gone to the
this
cinema
week.
this week.
We must say
We must
I've
say
been to the cinema
I've
this
been
week.
to the cinema this week.
Very good. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm pointing out
I'm pointing
the
out
mistake in that
in that
sentence.
sentence.
Very good. Okay. In your country, do people visit the relatives' graves? In your country, do people visit the relatives' graves? Yes or no?
Yes, in
In
my
my country,
country,
people
people visit
visit their
their
relatives'
relatives'
graves.
graves.
Very good. Is it bad for your neck to sleep without a pillow? Is it bad for your neck to sleep without a pillow? Yes or no?
Yes, it's
It's
a bath for my neck
to
to
sleep
sleep without
without.
a pillow.
Very good. Can we have a fire without flame? Can we have a fire without flame? Yes, we
Yes,
can have a
we can have a
fire
fire
without
without a flame.
flames. Very good. How long is the flight from there to England? How long is the flight from there to England? The flight from
The
here
flight
to
from here to
England is
England is
about.
about 20 hours.
Very good. What do the words may and might express? What do the words may and might express? The words
The
may
word
and
may
might
and might
express
express
the
the
idea
idea
of
of
perhaps.
perhaps.
Very good. What's the difference between may and might? What's the difference between may and might? The difference
The
between
difference
may
between
and
may
might
and might
is that
is that
we
we
cannot
cannot
use may
use may
in
in
the
second
second
conditional.
conditional. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. If I went to
If I
London,
went to
I
London,
might
I
visit
might visit
Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Palace.
Very good. Do you think it may rain later? Do you think it may rain later? Yes or no?
No,
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
it will
it will
rain
rain later.
later. Very good. What do you think I might have in my pocket? What do you think I might have in my pocket? I think
I
you might
think
have
you might have some money in
in
your
your
pocket.
pocket. What might happen if we didn't look both ways before crossing the road? What might happen if you didn't look both ways before crossing the road? An
An
accident might
accident
happen
might
if
happen
I
if
didn't
I
look
didn't
both
look
ways
its face
before crossing the
before
road.
crossing the road.
Very good. What might you see if you went to London? What might you see if you went to London? I might
I
see
might
Buckingham
see
Palace,
Buckingham
the
Palace, the
Houses of
Houses of
Parliament,
Parliament,
Trafalgar Square,
Trafalgar Square,
Trafalgar Square,
Trafalgar Square,
Piccadilly Circus,
Piccadilly Circus,
etc. If I
etc.
went to
If you
London.
went to London.
Greg, do you think there might be another world war? Do you think there might be another world war? Yes or no?
No,
I
I
don't
don't think
there
there will
might
be
be.
another World War.
Very good. Okay. What's the difference between arrive at and arrive in? What's the difference between arrive at and arrive in? The
The
difference between
difference between
arrive at
arrive at
and arrive
and
in
arrive
is
in
that we
is that
arrive
we
at a
arrive
point,
at a point,
whereas we
whereas
arrive
you
in
arrive
an area.
in an area.
Very good. What time do you arrive at school? What time do you arrive at school? I arrive
I
at
arrive
school
at school
at
5 o'clock.
wait, one more. I arrive at school
I
at
arrive at
5 o'clock.
school at 5 o'clock.
Wait, if you arrive at a foreign airport without your passport, what might happen? If you arrive at a foreign airport without your passport, what might happen? If I
If
arrive
I
at a
arrive at
foreign
foreign
airport
airport
without my
without
passport,
my passport,
I might
I
not
might
be
not
able
be
to
able
enter the
to enter
country.
the country.
Very good. What is a cafe? What is a cafe? A cafe
A
is a
cafe,
small,
a small
informal restaurant
informal
where
restaurant.
you can get
You
light
can get
meals,
like a meal,
snacks, and
snacks,
drinks.
and drinks.
Very good. Do you owe me any money? Do you owe me any money? No, I
No,
don't owe you
I don't owe
any
you
money.
any money.
Do I owe you any money? Do I owe you any money? Yes, you
No,
owe me
yes,
some
you owe
money.
me some money.
Very good. What does it mean to give back? What does it mean to give back? To give back
To give back
means to return.
to return.
When you go on holiday, what do you bring back with you? When you go on holiday, what do you bring back with you? When I
When
go
I
on
go on
holiday,
holiday,
I
I
bring
bring
back
back souvenirs
souvenirs
with
with
me.
me. Very good. Are you going to go back home immediately after the lessons ended? Are you going to go back home immediately after the lessons ended? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'm
I'm
going
going
to
to go
go
back
home,
immediately
home
after the
immediately.
lessons.
One more.
Home immediately.
One more. Yes,
Yes,
I'm going to
I'm
go
going
back
to
home
go back home
immediately after
immediately
the lessons
after
ended.
the lessons ended.
Very good. When people lend you money, do you always pay it back when promised? When people lend you money, do you always pay it back when promised? Yes or no?
Yes,
When people
if
lend me
when
money,
people lend me
I
money,
always pay
I
it back
always pay it
when
back
promised.
when promised.
Do you know anybody who has retired but then later gone back to work? Do you know anybody who has retired but then later gone back to work? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I know
know
somebody
who
who
has
has
retired
retired
but then
but
later
then
gone back
later
to work.
go back to work.
Very good. What is your normal breakfast? What is your normal breakfast? My normal
My
breakfast
normal
is
breakfast, coffee and bread.
very good. Do people normally feel proud when they do well in exams? Do people normally feel proud when they do well in exams? Yes,
Yes,
people normally
people
feel proud
normally feel
when
proud
they do
when they
well
do
in
well
exams.
in exams.
Do you take pride in your work? Do you take pride in your work? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I
take
take
pride in my
pride
work.
in my work.
Very good. If you were very rich, would you have servants in your house? If you were very rich, would you have servants in your house? Yes or no?
Yes,
If
if I
I
were
were
very
very
rich,
rich, I'd
I'd
have
have
servants
Slovenian servants
in my house.
in my house.
Very good. Does a lorry have fewer wheels than a car? Does a lorry have fewer wheels than a car? No, a
No,
lorry
a
doesn't
lorry
have
doesn't have
fewer wheels
fewer
than a
wheels
car.
than a
It
car.
has more
It
wheels.
has more wheels.
Very good. About how long is an arrow? About how long is an arrow? An arrow
An
is
arrow
about
is
a
about
meter long. A
meter
meter
long.
long. Very good.
A meter long.
How many centimeters make a meter? How many centimeters make a meter? 100
100
centimeters make a
centimeters make
meter.
a meter.
Very good. Do you know anybody who has long beard? Do you know anybody who has long beard? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I know
know
somebody
somebody who
who has
has a
long
long
beard.
beard. Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word. Okay, let's start. Okay, repeat. True,
true,
false,
false,
paper.
paper.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word true is an adjective. True means based on facts and not imagined or not invented. For example, the opposite of heaven is hell. It's true. The opposite of tall is short. It's true. The word false is an adjective. False is the opposite of true. It means not true or not correct. For example, the opposite of heaven is sky. It's false. Paper or newspaper is a noun. A paper or newspaper is a document consisting of news reports, articles, and photographs that are published every day or every week. For example, not everything we read in the newspaper is true. Some things are true and some things are false. I think maybe because newspapers haven't always got the time to make sure that what they write is completely true. Okay, let's practice this. Is it false that the opposite of heaven is hell? Is it false that the opposite of heaven is hell? No, it isn't
It isn't
false that
false
the opposite
that
of
the
heaven
opposite of
is
heaven
hell.
is hell.
It's true.
It's true.
Which is everything we read in the newspaper true? Is everything we read in the newspaper true? No, not
No,
everything
not
we read
everything we
in
read
the
in
newspaper is
the
true.
newspaper is true.
Some things are true
Some things are
and
true
some things
and
are
some
false.
things are false.
Very good. Why do you think this is so? Why do you think this is so? I think maybe
I think
it's
maybe
because
it's
newspapers
because
haven't
newspapers
always got time
haven't always got
to
time
make sure
to
that
make
what
sure
they write
what they
is
write
completely true.
is completely true.
Very good. Next, repeat. Maintain.
Maintain.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word maintain is a verb. It means to keep something in good condition or to make something continue the same thing in the same way or at the same standard as before. For example, it's expensive to maintain a large house. Let's practice. Is it cheap to maintain a large house? Is it cheap to maintain a large house? No, it
No,
isn't
it
cheap
isn't
to
cheap to
maintain a
maintain a
large
large
house.
house.
It's expensive.
Expensive.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. It takes.
It takes
Ireland.
Ireland.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word it takes make means that it needed or required in order to complete something. For example, it takes about 30 minutes from here to the next town. So it means we need 30 minutes to get to the next town. Another example, it takes about 10 minutes from here to the station. Okay, Ireland is a noun. It is a large island to the west of Great Britain, from which is separated by the Irish Sea. For example, it doesn't take longer to fly from here to Ireland than to go by train and ship. It takes less time. Okay, let's practice. How do we translate the word it takes in Japanese? How do we translate the words it takes in Japanese? We translate
We
the word
translate
it
the word
takes
it takes
with
with それには in
in
Japanese.
Japanese. Very good. How long does it take you to go home from your office? How long does it take you to go home from your office? It takes me
It
about
takes me about 1 hour
to go home from my
to go
office.
home from my office.
Does it take longer to fly from there to Ireland than to go by train and ship? Does it take longer to fly from there to Ireland than to go by train and ship? No, it
No,
doesn't take
it
longer to
doesn't
fly
take
from
longer
here.
than flight here.
One more. No, it doesn't
No,
take
it
longer
doesn't take
to
longer
fly from here
to fly from
to
here
Ireland
to
than
Ireland
to go by train
than
and
to
ship.
go by train and ship.
It takes less time.
It takes less time.
Wagon, about how long would it take you to reach the station from there if you walk very fast? About how long would it take you to reach the station from there if you walk very fast? It would take
It
me
takes
about
about 5 minutes
to reach the station
to reach the
from
station
here if I
from
walk
here
very
if
fast.
I walk very fast.
Very good. Next, repeat amount.
Amount,
Amount to.
Amount to.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word amount is a noun. Amount is the sum of money of a particular quantity or of something that can be measured. For example, I've got about 100 pesos in my pocket. Or we can say the amount of money I have got in my pocket is 100 pesos. They use a large amount of wood in building houses in my country because it's cheap. Amount to is a phrasal verb. Amount to also means equal. For example, 100 yen and 20 yen amount to 120 yen. Okay, let's practice. What amount of money have you got in your pocket at the moment? What amount of money have you got in your pocket at the moment? I've got about,
Got amount.
well, I've got about
I've got about 100 yen
in my pocket at the
in my
moment.
pocket at the moment.
Very good. Do they use a large amount of wood in building houses in your region? Do they use a large amount of wood in building houses in your region? Yes or no?
No,
They don't use a
they
large
don't use
amount of wood
large amount of
in
wood
building houses
in building
in my
houses
region.
in my region
Why? Why? Because it's expensive.
because it's expensive.
Very good. What do 50 pounds and 13 pounds amount to? What do 50 pounds and 13 pounds amount to? 50 pounds
50 pounds
and
and
13 pounds
13 pounds
amount to
amount to
63 pounds.
63 pounds.
Very good. Next, repeat further.
Further,
Sweden,
Sweden,
in addition,
in addition,
extra.
extra.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word further means the same as farther, but it also means in addition or extra. Further, in addition, or extra. For example, I'd have to go to the information office if I wanted further information about train times at the station. If I failed an exam, I'd have to take further lessons. Sweden is a noun. It is a country in Northern Europe. For example, Sweden is further from Spain than Switzerland. Okay, let's practice. What does the word further mean? What does the word further mean? The word further
What
means
further
the same
means
as farther.
the stay as further,
The same as farther.
the same as further,
But it also means
but it
in
also
addition
means
or extra.
in addition or extra.
Very good. Which is further from Spain, Sweden or Switzerland? Which is further from Spain, Sweden or Switzerland? The Sweden
The Sweden
is further
is
from
the
Spain
further from
than
Spain
Switzerland.
than Switzerland.
Very good. What's the furthest you've ever been? What's the furthest you've ever been? The furthest I've
The
ever been
farthest
is
I've
from
ever
Japan
been
to
is from Japan to
where?
Brazil.
Brazil. Very good. Where'd you have to go if you wanted further information about train times at the station? Where do you have to go if you wanted further information about train times at the station? I'd have to go to
I'd
the
have to go
information
to the
office
information
if
center
I wanted further
if I want
information
further information
about train times at the
about
station.
train times at the station.
Greg, give me a further example of the word further. Give me a further example of the word further, please. If I fail an
If
exam,
I fail
I'd
an
have
exam,
to take
I'd
further
have
lessons.
to take further lessons.
Very good. Next, let's have past perfect.
Past perfect.
Very good. Okay, repeat. I had eaten.
I had eaten.
Very good. Okay, listen. The past perfect communicates the same idea as the present perfect, except that instead of thinking about time before and up to now, we are thinking about time before and up to a specific point in the past. That's why it's past perfect. For example, with the present perfect, we say Mary cannot enter her flat because she has lost her key. That was a time before, and up to now, she has lost her key. With past perfect, we can say Mary could not enter her flat yesterday. So yesterday, because she had lost her key only yesterday. Now she can enter her house. Okay, let's practice. When do we use the present perfect? When do we use the present perfect? We use the
We use
present
the
perfect
present
when we are
perfect
thinking.
when we are
about
thinking
time before
about
and up
time
to
before
now.
and up to now.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Mary cannot
Mary
enter her flat
cannot enter her
because
bus
she has lost her
because
key.
she has lost her key.
What does that sentence mean? What does that sentence mean? That sentence means
That
that
sentence means
Mary
that Mary
does not know
does
where
not
her
know
key is
where
now
her key now
because of losing it
because
earlier today.
losing it earlier today.
Very good. When do is the past perfect? When do is the past perfect? We use the
We use
past
the past
perfect when we
perfect
are thinking
when we are
about
thinking
time before
about time
and
before
up to another
and up
point
to
in the past.
another point in the past.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Mary could not
Mary
enter her flat
could not enter
yesterday
her flat
because
yesterday
she had
because
lost her key.
she has lost her key.
What does that sentence mean? What does that sentence mean? That sentence means
The
that
sentence means
Mary did not know
Mary is
where her
not
key
wrong
was yesterday. Where her key was
where
yesterday
her key was yesterday
because of losing it
because of losing it
earlier in the day.
earlier in the day.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Okay, so reading is at stage 4, paragraph page 279. And our last headword was refuse. Okay, start with headword separate.
Okay. Separate. Separate. Do you